review the requests. So has this already come through? What was the original?
Last month.
I wasn't there, so what was the original?
It was just the same as what's written there, and it was to request the bank statements, because we didn't have that at that point.
Any other comments?
I was going to propose a lesser amount of either 500 or 750 to give them a float up to about 4,000. So given some food inflation, etc., they would still have 750 to £1,000 ready towards next year. If they needed to do anything, and we can then review it next year for that. It sort of feels they've got quite a lot of money in that. It's sort of thing.
This was the argument last year. They had a lot more, and it's a bit like, I don't know if you put it, but we're not just topped it up.
We're topping up a reasonably healthy bank account, and maybe it doesn't need to be quite that much for the majority of the year. But maybe it would, doing what I've just suggested would mean that next year we would probably need to be budgeting to give them more to make sure it covers next year's.
Yes.
So we almost kind of get back to a point of actually funding what it's going to cost them for it, rather than just giving them money.
So based on what we've got on the table, so we've got 1,500 that's been proposed and seconded. And you said
I said either 500 or 750, just looking at their amount, maybe 750, just to get it around the 400.
So I'll possibly take that as an amendment to the original proposal. So I'll take 750. I feel like I'm playing a Is your final answer? Do I have a seconder for that amendment? Lynn, seconding? Okay, so I'll take a vote on when it comes to the vote, I'll take a vote on the amendment, and because that's how it's done. I can't think of the full procedure, but I know that's how it's done. Susie, yeah?
Well, looking at the amount that's there and what we want to spend, I was going to suggest that if we gave them 1,000 this year, 1,000 next year, at the same time of year, that would give them enough to cover next year and this year.
Right, okay. So, we've got another amendment.
and it would allow us to budget our funds as well.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like that.
Okay, so
can I withdraw mine in favour of that one? That's where the procedure gets. I don't know.
But we had second 1,000 then.
So with this new amendment, so we've got Susie proposing, Nathan is seconding?
Second 1,000.
Yeah, okay. Andy, you're suggesting a withdrawal of your amendment?
Yeah, because that sounds reasonable.
And Lynn supports that, so...
We didn't discuss
so
it first.
Withdrawn, so second withdrawn.
So an amendment's gone. So Sean, you were saying?
I'm in favour of £1,000 if an amendment is not.
And Stephen, are you supporting a withdrawal of the original proposal of 1,500?
It would seem that nobody wants to give the old folk the
Well, it's just... It's agreed in amount, and I think Susie makes a good point that it would allow some money still to be able to be granted out on the parish council
we
as well.
need to give them enough money to hold in the bank next year just to keep interest.
That point has been made, and we can make sure.
For you and they'll be here after you.
Yeah. I don't die that soon. I want to actually get to be able to say. Is that an official withdrawal?
Yeah,
right.
We've got,
so we've got one proposal on the table, which is now £1,000. Do we wish to phone a friend? Ask Nathan, are we good?
Yeah. I was thinking, not Chris, on another thing. I'm just trying to put it delicately and respectfully that we have to be, I think, thinking ahead. That the people who are organising it are well entitled to attend themselves, let's say, and so actually their fundraising activities aren't going to be as equivalent that maybe they once were, and that actually in coming years it's a step up maybe next year, but the year after might be a step up again, because it isn't something we want to see disappear, and it might be that we get to a stage where actually we have to budget to cover the whole cost of the event. Because we can't fundraise unless we're going to take over as volunteers separately to here. It's something to be thinking about
Yeah.
2 or 3 years down the line that actually
I
it's
think
going to need to be
it's
covered.
the age-old thing of volunteers don't live forever, do they? Unfortunately. That might be quite bluntly put, and I don't mean it to be so blunt, but... okay, are you going to comment?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I said that for how are you commenting? Are you sure?
I just feel like I don't feel like I'm qualified to vote on this one or the other. Just I don't know. Well, from what I've seen, I can't see what they've asked for. I don't see what the money's going towards. I don't know what other fundraising arrangements are. I know we sat in this meeting a few months ago and declined the brownies, I think it was, but we were happy to give £1,000 to the old people of the village. It just seems very inconsistent, and I don't know, I'm just not a fan of just giving £1,000.
It's for Christmas, isn't it?
I get what it's for, but there's other people that we could do with the money as well, and we just sat here giving £1,000 or £1,500, whatever it is, to a group of people because they've asked for it without any real qualification of what or why they need it. So what I'd like to see, exactly what Nathan was saying, what other fundraising activities do they do? Do they go elsewhere for this? Sorry, you can cut in there.
I am going to put in, just for clarity, so it's not like totally brand new to us.
Oh no.
On the previous term, every year they ask for it. The chair, whoever they've been, and it's been going such a long time, they've attended the event and they've seen what it does. And they do their own fundraising. They used to have a stall at the gala, for example, and they used to do lots of fundraising. I know in the past, I think Wakefield Council had, the district council have given towards it as well in the past. That's not every year, but I do know that. Essentially, it's Christmas dinner for people over a certain age, and they can all attend for free. And I think, it provides transport.
Transport, there's a small gift as well.
Yeah.
So in terms of the event, it has been such a long-standing institution. I think we know where it's going, and previously it was 2 parish councillors that, they sort of run it, and also there's a district councillor that's still on and helps run it as well. So, and I'm unsure of all the other volunteers. I don't know how many there are or how few there
A
are.
couple of ex-parish councillors we know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I think they're the ones I'm referring to last time.
House, maybe Glasgow. John Johnson.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So yeah, I think some of us do, but more than happy to.
I'm not against it necessarily. It just seems like
I understand
we're
the point
voting
you're
on
making.
very little information, and we've declined similar things for various reasons over the months. It just seems a bit arbitrary from my point of view.
Yeah, I understand the point. Sarah, if you...
But perhaps the next year, or in advance of next year, we should say to them, could you please complete our standard forms when you're asking for this? And then we'd have more information about what happens to it. I think it's too late for this year really, but for next year.
Yeah. So I think because it's not been done in the past, I think that's why
Yeah.
it's not been done. We do always ask,
Yeah.
but we can make that a mandatory.
Yeah.
It doesn't come to
Yeah.
council without a form being completed.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
It's a good idea.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so what value have we got now? £1,000 we've got to
I'll second that.
So it's already been proposed and seconded.
Yeah, standing proposal, Susie and Nathan.
Susie and Nathan.
£1,000.
So votes in favour of accepting that.
I will in the
abstention?
minutes. Sorry.
Abstain? Yeah.
I will in the minutes put about forms. It was noted that forms need to be completed. So it's noted.
Yes. Okay, thank you. 92. So review and select lampposts for Christmas 2025, light wraps to be installed, and consider resident communication. So we've got, in our packs, we've got a sort of a plan of the lamppost, and based on the previous years and been on the parish council since the previous term, these are all the standard lampposts that generally have the lights anyway. Previously we used to get funding or get more funding from Wakefield, and that's virtually disappeared, so we're having to sort of like the bill more and more and more. Although last year we did contest it, didn't we, which was a good thing.
Yeah.
If we can contest it again, I think we'd be very happy.
Actually, I've just realised that if he wasn't at the September meeting, this probably doesn't make as much sense. Because this is a page from the pack of the September meeting where it was approved that we're going to have 20 wraps this year. 3 of them would be at the village green, and this item is for council to decide the locations of the remaining 17 wraps, and those are the 39 lampposts currently with power.
Right, okay.
But if he wasn't at the last meeting, that probably hasn't translated that one.
Yes, that
I
didn't
know I've
translate.
seen it somewhere, but I couldn't remember the number we've got.
Yeah.
36 to 39. Sarah, you were suggesting an extra 3.
Though it was 17 and the 3 at the village green made 20. So this is for the 17. Because there was some conversation around, we had originally proposed as a proposal from the staff team to put it around the Ego roundabout, but actually the Ego roundabout is quite well lit, so that's quite a lot of lampposts that you would take out of the 17, and this is to stay within budget. That was the option that was selected by the last council, at the last meeting.
Okay, so any comments so far?
So, we're not surely going to go lamppost by lamppost.
No, I would very much hope that we can go for
Can I just make a suggestion? We just delegate it to the guys to do it. I don't think we should sit here and
Yeah.
do this. Just whatever seems reasonable as a spread out
I'm
display.
happy to do that. Could we also have a council to do it with us, because we put forward our proposal and that's what was under discussion.
So I'll take that as a proposal then from Ian for a delegated, so a councillor to be involved and delegated responsibility to go to the office and for a decision to be made on which lampposts get the lights. We were talking 37 out of 39, is that right?
17.
17.
Those 39.
Okay.
I just wondered, because I think you might be quite strong feelings about this, about whether she might be councillors involved.
Yes. That might be worthwhile. It was Amanda had quite strong feelings about
She
this
did.
meeting.
Should then we have one councillor from each of the Ackworth wards? So there's no any possible accusations of
Possibly just make it.
ward bias.
I think one of the things that maybe we ought to agree here, if we are delegating, is that kind of, I suppose I would say, High Ackworth, Low Ackworth, Carbridge, Wakefield Road, Doncaster Road, all have something, sort of thing. They may not put quite how many where.
Spread,
To make sure that we do have that spread. Parties
Yeah.
come to the same.
Yeah.
Is what I was thinking.
So the team wraps don't go very far, I'm just putting it out.
No, appreciate that, but to make sure, because we've had complaints before from people, there's none of them of it, and things, and if you can at least say, we're trying to disperse them a little bit.
Yeah. As best we can. Susie, yeah.
Sorry, we weren't here in September. Could I just ask, is this just a beginning? We're going to invest in a little bit more lighting, which that's my understanding.
Yeah. So this is like the start of
Yes.
building up the stock, as it were.
And that's the second part of this agenda item, Chair, is we need to communicate out to the residents what we're doing. So it's the next agenda item, but in the newsletter draft, that's kind of what we're proposing, that we are communicating and saying we're trying to build on it every year.
Yeah.
Okay, so proposal is to delegate to the office and have delegated councillors from each ward.
Not saying I feel fine.
Oh,
I think we should be able to trust a councillor to.
I'm going to do it for me.
Christmas wasn't it?
sorry. Okay.
I don't care, I just think it's a ridiculous amount of people to put on only.
Okay, so one delegated councillor plus delegated responsibilities to the office. That's both
One proposal, yeah.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
council has to deal with any complaints with me.
Speak to the class. That's
And
the
that'll coincide with communication about Christmas lights, building up of stock, and that sort of thing. Okay, so proposal from me. Second. Nathan, yeah. All in favour? All in favour. Are we okay? Are we okay with asking Amanda first? And then if you need another councillor,
I'll definitely step in if you want. So
Ian will step in.
if Amanda's like.
Are we all happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, dokes. Thank you very much. Okay, item 93. To receive a draft copy of the autumn winter newsletter for review and to consider approval of contents.
Yes. Chair, can I just say something very quickly?
Yes.
Council, you don't usually receive these, it usually goes through the village events and the communications, but we didn't have a meeting that lined up correctly because we've had quite a few bits and pieces on within the office, so that's why it's coming to council. However, I'm quite glad that it's come to council because it gives all of us the opportunity to have a look. However, I'm not asking for authorisation on whether you like the colours or the layout or the style. It's just more so as is there anything in there that you think is a bit contentious? Do you think anything needs a massive reword, or is there anything missing that we've missed? If that's okay, Chair, that'll clarify.
That's fine.
I think, sorry.
Go on, Tom.
I think it's all good, but I think because you mentioned the exercise equipment, we might get some kickbacks from
But then again, we'll get people in favour of it as well. You know, it's a contentious issue that falls on against it.
I have more for than against, just for the record.
Yeah. I voted for the exercise equipment, so we've got. Sarah.
Yeah, I think it's great, there's obviously a lot going on, but I do think the print's too small. And I think it should be possible to still say the same but cut down the number of words, and particularly on the three little posters on the front and the one on the back for the council working for you one. And yes, I mean most things on the back actually. I struggle to see them. So I think the print, isn't there a kind of an advice that, you know, there's a minimum size of font that you use, and I just think it's too small.
Can I just intervene a little bit, because obviously in terms of, that would mean rewording quite a lot of it if we were to change the text for this, and this is the draft that's sort of ready to go. So I think that point can be taken forward.
Okay.
So that
I just think a lot of the important information will be lost because people.
I just know that when we get the newsletter at this stage at the village events when it comes, it's normally that it's gone through that process of, and also by the time it comes to the full council, we're sort of proving, just to take the advice from Gemma as well as.
Just one thing, is it possible that we could advertise a neighbourhood planning here? Give those people.
Have a what?
Advertise neighbourhood planning.
Before we get onto that, we need to get the person from Wakefield Council to advise on. I think that would be the best course of action.
As a Wednesday, you can actually, like, we're advertising meeting the day that Wakefield Council.
But it's not going to be an open meeting anyway.
Oh, right,
so
But that's
that
what.
might be a next.
Yeah,
Sorry, Chair.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going. Like, I think that action needs to be carried out first before we put that in, before we open it up to a wider consultation as to what the neighbourhood plan can do, what it can't do, how it goes about. You know, I think all that information needs to be gathered first before we then start promising and opening up meetings to the whole village and everything. I think we need some details and to be able to expectations set as well. So
on that point, could I just ask, have we mentioned the neighbourhood plan in the newsletter? That's what I'm hearing. And
Not yet.
That was the gist of what Phil said. Have we asked residents in a newsletter whether they would like to participate?
not yet, but I think that could definitely go onto a future newsletter instead of this particular one that's covering and taking on board the comments that Sarah's just made, and in terms of what Gemma's just said. we're trying to cover what the parish council have done, particularly over the summer with the playground equipment and upcoming events. So I think there's already a lot of content on there, and we're only saying the text is too small. So to add more content on, I think we're asking, we're asking too much. I think personally we need to be basically saying, is there an issue with the content that's on there? The other thing that's come forward so far is that the text is too small, which I don't know if we could ask.
It does meet the standard, but I do understand what Sarah's saying. Where we can reword slightly to make it larger, we will. But I do think it cries out for the fact that we're that busy now that this is too small for what we're doing. If anything, we need to start looking at doing quarterly newsletters.
Yeah.
And in terms of the neighbourhood plan, the proposal came in after the spring edition, and it's closed by resolution of the council, so it's closed as the neighbourhood plan. So that's why I didn't include it on this one. But I'm happy to bear it in mind for the next spring one once we've done what we've just said as council. If that answers that question.
Yes, it was.
It was only that I feel like there's been a missed opportunity to let the whole village know on paper.
It's the problem we're having to.
I think that we might need more newsletters so we can make the text bigger going forward, and so I think that's definitely something to consider. And it's not like we're going to do this meeting like tomorrow, is it?
No,
like
that's
we're already in November.
No, that's why it would be quite good if it went in.
Yeah.
Maybe cut out
And-
that Wakefield council.
And just take into consideration we're going into winter as well. Meetings are generally better attended spring, summer, and it's lighter and that sort of thing. So we can definitely maybe get a newsletter out earlier on in the year, get some social media posts out on this particular item. But on the newsletter specifically, if I can draw it all back, and have any issues?
Oh no, I was going to propose that we, whatever the word is, approve